Hello everybody, I'm Sarah and I'm a recorder player. So I'm going to be talking you through 6 different practice styles and how to get the most out of each one. Now these aren't the 6 different practice styles, it's just ones that I've been ruminating on for a while. I also asked my followers on Instagram to describe their practice in one word and the results were quite surprising. A lot of people kind of in panic and chaos. So today I'm not going to try and get you to overhaul or drastically change your entire practice routine. It's about working with what you already do, some little tweaks that can help you get the most out of it and feel like you're making progress. Okay, practice style number 1, the sporadic practicer. You play every so often, but it always feels like other things get in the way. You never really get around to practicing, and as a result, you get the practice guilt. Does anyone recognize this? My first tip is to build in routine structurally. I want you to set yourself a challenge. For the next 5 days, I want you to practice every day. Even if it's only 2 minutes, you're doing it every day. Tell your family you're doing it, make that time, make that commitment. I often find if you get into a habit with something, it's easier to keep going. And 5 days, let's start small. Another thing is to build routine into your practice itself. For now, let's always start with the same tune, the same simple piece, the same warm-up. If you know what you're going to begin with, it's much easier to get started than thinking, oh my God, where do I begin? And if it's really impossible to find that time to play every day, there is a huge amount that you can do without your instrument. I actually did a whole video on this, how to practice without your instrument. Practice style 2, the play-through. I also like to call this pleasure practice. Let's focus on the positive. You're not really actually actively practicing, you're just playing through your pieces and enjoying it. First of all, I want to say, playing through this pleasure practice is really important. It reminds us of why we're musicians, because we enjoy making music. So I don't want to say never do this. It can help to try and pick something to listen out for. In a small way, give yourself a goal. So are you going to be listening for where you're breathing, or making a trill on that nice place, or how you're ending a phrase? You can take it a tiny bit more organised and decide on what you're going to concentrate on before you start playing. Another thing that can help is, instead of just playing through, take 1 minute to play that difficult bit first, slowly, and then when you play it within the whole, it's probably going to be better. And if you really only want to play through, here's a good tip. Record yourself playing and listen back, because you'll hear a lot of things in that, I will tell you. Practice style 3, possibly my favourite type, investment practice. Investment practice is your focused, concentrated working time, the time you are using to build your technique and assimilate new skills. That sounds impressive, because it is. This was the kind of practice I was doing when I was a conservatory student, but maybe you're a very motivated amateur or a very enthusiastic beginner. Fantastic! How can we get the most out of this? I would set some goals for yourself so you're not overwhelmed and you're not trying to do everything at once. Learn it properly, learn it well. Go slowly, be patient, and don't skip any steps, because this invested time is what is going to carry your technique through in the years to come when you might not have so much time. And really important with investment practice, know when to take a break. It can be easy to get too into it and either burn out mentally or give yourself physical problems, so know when to rest. A lot of these techniques also need time and sometimes a bit of a break in order to sink in. This brings me to type 4, survival practice. You have no time, but you have a pile of music that you've got to get done for concerts or lessons or whatever. You're just getting it all in as much as you can. I'll be honest, since having a baby, sometimes my practice is survival practice. But the good news is, this is the time that you can rely on the investment practice you've hopefully done before. You've built up some technique which is hopefully standing you in good stead. If it's time for the survival practice, it's all about planning. I like to get out my agenda and work out when I'm going to practice, when I have that free space, and what pieces. If I can see it laid out in front of me, it's easier to think, okay, it's going to be fine. Very important, don't skip the foundations. Yes, you have limited time, but that doesn't mean you should immediately skip to the end tempo or playing the whole work in one go. You still have to lay those foundations for every piece and lay them strong. Start slow, make sure you're learning it correctly. And when you're practicing, be really focused and practical. Which parts need extra time that you're going to spend? I always actually want to play the parts that are going really well because it's nice. I want to do my playthrough pleasure practice, but be a little bit disciplined. Those difficult parts need the work, so spend the time on them. Possibly the opposite of survival practice is number 5, meditative practice. The nice thing was, in my Instagram poll, a lot of people said that their practice was meditative, zen, flow, in the zone. You don't really have set goals or time constraints, you're just playing and enjoying it and letting it happen. This is actually a wonderful state to be in. So how can we concentrate on specifics and still feel like we're making some progress without pulling yourself out of this really nice flowing state? First, it's good to know what helps you get into this zone. Is it free time, knowing you won't be interrupted, or a specific space, a room, the light, a smell, a piece of music? And can you quite easily recreate this state? And then when you're playing, you don't have to actively change anything, but really take the time to listen to yourself. This is a wonderful state to be in for developing your sound, and then really observe what is happening. What are you hearing? What do you like about what you're hearing? What would you like to change or alter for the next time? And the last practice style I'm going to talk about today is actually a really important one that a lot of my viewers and me in the past used to do. That is ensemble practice. You don't actually really practice on your own at home, but you play in an ensemble, maybe once a week, maybe every 2 weeks, and that's your playing time. How do you still make progress? So here are some nice exercises to try. When you're next playing with your ensemble, don't listen to yourself, but pick another voice to listen to. Listen to how they move and how they interact with your own part. This will help you get to know the music a lot better. Ask your ensemble if you can spend some time on tuning an ensemble sound. This can be things like blowing the first chord of the piece and the last chord, feeling how that is and moving between the two. Just spending 5 to 10 minutes on this in every rehearsal really develops your ears and your sound, and because you have the opportunity to play with other people, really take advantage of this. And then if you can, take the time to prepare your music for the next rehearsal. Some very useful things to do in ensemble music is practicing your entrances. Every time you come in, how does that sound? Which beat of the bar? Making sure your articulation is really clear and accurate, because that's going to give the whole ensemble sound a lot more pa. And of course, being really sure of your rhythms. If you're not sure, try clapping it or singing it or getting out your metronome. Spending a little bit of preparation time is going to make your ensemble time so much better. So those were 6 possible practice styles that I've been thinking of. If you really identify with one of these, it could help to try out one of the others. If you're really stuck into the investment practice, take some time now and again to do playthroughs. If you are a sporadic or never practicing, why don't you join an ensemble? Because that will get you playing. If you find you're always in survival mode, take one practice session just to do some meditative. So I hope by trying out some of these tweaks and ideas, this will be helpful for you and your practice. Let me know. As always, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face down here in the corner. Here is the Team Recorder web shop where you can buy sheet music from my album. And up here is a whole video I've done on the art of practicing, since we're into it now. Thanks for watching and have a great day.